Hey guys, this is Mainly Watches and I'm Nick. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for joining us today. I am looking at the SINN U2. This was originally released in 2005 by SINN, and the model was initially known as the Einsatzzeitmesser, or mission timer. It was then abbreviated to the EZM5 before it officially became known as the U2. These watches, as I say, they were released in 2005, so this watch has been in production for 20 years, which is a remarkable production run. And I think it's really a testament to what SINN has produced here. What is so interesting here is that there is a massive amount of technology that's gone into this watch, and it has some really unique features. First off, you'll notice the color. It's sort of a bead-blasted gray. This watch is not stainless steel. It is actually made out of submarine steel made by ThyssenKrupp, which is a large German manufacturing conglomerate. This submarine steel has extreme saltwater resistance and very high levels of non-magnetic properties. The case also features what SINN calls tegiment hardening, which hardens the case. And you've also got a lot of other interesting things going on here. This watch is rated for 2,000 meters water resistance. That's 2 kilometers. And it is certified by DNV, Det Norske Veritas, which is a Scandinavian classification society. Actually, they do a lot of ship classifications and apparently submarines as well. So you know this is a very robust watch. SINN also is using special lubricants for the movement, and the watch is certified with an operating range from -45 centigrade to +80 centigrade. So tremendous temperature range that this thing is allowed to operate under. You also have a bezel that is held with screws, so it's not going to fall off. You'll also notice down at the 6 o'clock here, there is a little indicator. That is actually an indicator to tell you if there is humidity in the watch, and it will change color. It will go very dark blue if there is humidity in the watch. This watch has dehumidifying with 3 copper sulfate capsules embedded within the movement. And they've gone a step further, and you'll notice on the dial at the 9 o'clock there is a very faint AR, and that is because this watch is actually, when it's assembled, done under a vacuum and then filled with inert gas, being argon. All of this to help avoid condensation within the watch due to temperature changes. Quickly, let's just take a look at the specs on this. You've got a case diameter of 44 millimeters. Lug to lug is coming in at 50. Now, as I measure it with the end links, and they are more or less a male end link, these pieces here do not articulate, so when I measure it end to end, it's coming in at 56 millimeters at its greatest. You have a lug width of 22, and a case thickness, this is a very chunky monkey, case thickness on here is 16.4 millimeters as I measure it. Weight of this watch, just the case alone, without the bracelet, is 120 grams. On the bracelet, it's coming in at 210 grams. So this is a heavy, big watch. And yeah, when you're wearing it, car doors and door frames, they better watch out, because this watch means business. And you'll notice there's not a scratch on this thing. You know, 5-year-old watch and looks as good as the day it left the factory. That's a testament to what's going on here with the case. So looking at this case, you've got the German Submarine Steel from ThyssenKrupp. As I mentioned, it's bead blasted. The sapphire crystal on here, according to SINN's documentation, is 4.2 millimeters thick. 4.2 millimeter. That's a thick, thick piece of glass. There is a slight dome to it, and it is a double dome. And as I measure it, the crystal diameter is coming in at 35 millimeters. You have a crown here at the 4 o'clock. I measured this as a 7 millimeter crown. And you have this bezel, which is also submarine steel, and it's a 60 click bezel. I'll let you hear it. Very positive clicks. Now, people will comment that there is play in the SINN bezels, and there is. You can see how it moves, but it always hits the right marks. So I think what's going on here is they have a spring in here, because you'll notice when I go to align it up, it always lines up. And it is very grippy. You have no troubles to grip it. Even though it's not particularly heavily knurled, it's still very easy to manipulate. And the bezel, of course, is in a 60-minute graduation for timing. So it is 60 clicks. And of course you have these screws here. So you have screws retaining the bezel so that the bezel doesn't fall off. If we take a look at the case back, oh, that is a big beast. Full submarine steel case back with the relevant information on there. U2, 2,000 meters. So pretty nice, fully screwed on case back and a screw-in crown. This crown has a lot of threads, so it's quite a crown to manipulate. Very easy to manipulate, but it does not at any time dig into your wrist, so I can't complain about the comfort there. So this submarine steel, as I mentioned, it is a steel developed by ThyssenKrupp for submarine hulls. It is austenitic steel. It is exceptionally strong and has very, very high anti-magnetic properties, as you would want on a submarine. In fact, SINN claims the mechanical strength of this steel is 1.5 times that of a stainless steel watch case. And then they have gone a step further with the tegimenting. So it is an extremely robust case design. And they claim extraordinary saltwater resistance. Now, for those of you who may know, stainless steel, despite its being very popular for watches, is not particularly saltwater resistant. Stainless steel will have corrosion and it will pit. So that's why it's generally recommended if you swim in seawater with your watch to rinse it off with fresh water. You don't have to worry about that with a SINN. This submarine steel is very, very resistant to corrosion, as you would expect. A little word here on the dial and hands. You'll notice the legibility is typical German, very, very high legible. The hour and minute hand are sword-shaped, fully loomed, and you have, of course, a GMT function. So not only is this a 2,000 meter certified dive watch, but it also is a GMT diver. They've kept the GMT track, the second time track, pretty low key. It's all done in red. So anything with red, and you'll see the little red arrow on the GMT hand, it's not loomed, but it's very tastefully done, and it allows you to keep track of that second time zone. It's very discreet. The dial is matte black, and you have stark white printed indices. The dial is very simple. Even down at the bottom, you can see the text made in Germany. It's just very flat black. And same with the AR logo, very, very discreet. Color match date wheel. The crystal on this is sapphire, as I mentioned. It does have a AR coating, and it is, of course, double domed. Now, because of the thickness of this, there is some distortion, and you can see that when I hold this up on an oblique angle. You do have some distortion with this crystal because it is so thick. But when you look at it right on, it just disappears. So it is a thick crystal, no getting away from that, but it does a nice job. We'll put up a Lume shot. Now, the Lume, I have to say, is one of the weak points with this watch, and I think in general it's been a complaint with SINN. For a dive watch, the Lume is somewhat disappointing on here. SINN does not mention what type of lume they're using. It looks to me like it's C3 Superluminova, but they do not mention it in their technical documentation, which is very unusual for SINN because they do get into a lot of technical details on the watch. But you can see from the Lume shot it fades out pretty quick. It's not the brightest to start with, and the Lume does fade pretty quickly within an hour. And when I show you how the watch is looking after 2 hours, you can see the result. Not very good. So yeah, the Lume is one of the weak points here. Getting into the movement on this guy, we have a Swiss-made Sellita. It's the SW330-1. This is a office GMT, so it's not a true GMT. And the watch is certified anti-magnetic. Drilled lugs, always a nice bonus to have. Makes strap changes easy. Now, let's take a look at the bracelet. This is the stock SINN bracelet, and you can see all the links are screwed, so they are very, very beefy. It's a very beefy bracelet. The finishing on here is gorgeous. It's an H-link bracelet. Articulates very nicely. Fully bead blasted, inside and out. Everything is bead blasted. Just lovely, very smooth finishing. Where the watch is a bit of a letdown is the clasp. It's a very basic clasp. It does have a diver's extension, which opens up, and this is beautifully milled. It's all very nice, very solid. I mean, this thing is rock solid. But you've only got 3 micro adjustment holes here. So the clasp is a bit of a weak point. SINN has addressed the issue. They have now released a adjustable clasp that slides. It looks quite a nice piece, but to upgrade the watch, they're asking quite a lot of money for just the clasp. I think it's around $280 if you want to buy a new clasp for it. So I've just left this one. This is just pressed steel, but it is very solid and heavily made. It does not feel cheap, and it locks. You could hear a very positive click, and then you've got the fold over clasp. And it is nice and thin. From what I've seen, the SINN, their quick adjust clasp that they have, it's quite a lot longer and quite a bit thicker. So that's been another thing that's kind of influenced me to stay with this clasp, simply because there's already so much bulk on this watch that you really, do you want to add more to it? I don't know. This watch does wear very nicely on this bracelet. I have to say it is perfectly balanced. And I'll just give you a wrist shot here. This is on my 7.5-inch wrist with the SINN bracelet. So if you think about it, 120 grams on the watch head and about 100 gram weight on the bracelet. So it's almost a 50-50 weight distribution, and it really does distribute the weight of this watch well. It's a heavy watch. There's no getting around it. I mean, 220 grams, that's a lot of weight to have on your wrist for the whole day, and you know it's there. But it's, you know, it's probably not something you're going to want to wear all day long. I do have some different straps that I like to wear it on, and I'll show them to you. One is the Erika's Originals MN strap, and then the other is the ARTEM HydroFlex, which is a FKM rubber. So we'll take a look at those straps now, and you can see how the watch looks on them. This is the SINN U2 on my 7.5-inch wrist on a Erika's Originals MN strap. This has the blasted finished clasp to match with the case, and you can see this watch wears very well. I like this combination in the summer with the bright red, picks up the red accents here on the watch. But yeah, very comfortable, and it controls this heavy behemoth of a watch very well. I cannot complain. This is the U2 on a ARTEM HydroFlex strap. This is a FKM rubber sailcloth effect strap, and very beefy strap, rigid, and controls this watch very nicely. This is also one of my favorite combinations to wear the watch on, just super comfy. The HydroFlex is of course very flexible and rigid, so it holds the watch well, and I think it complements the watch really nice. By wearing it on the Erikas or the ARTEM HydroFlex, you can get the weight of this guy down to just under 150 grams, depending on which one, 140 to 150, and it makes it a much more tolerable weight to wear day in, day out. This 220 gram weight, it's heavy on your wrist. I mean, you know it's there. As far as my complaints go, I guess first off I need to talk price. I mean, we got to put it in context because these are not inexpensive watches, and I'm going to come down hard on this. Pricing on these days is between 2,700 to 3,000 euros. That's from SINN Germany. Through their US distributor, pricing is from 3,300 all the way up to 3,980. As configured, as you see this watch here with the tegimented case and the non-tegimented bracelet, the price on this is $35.60 in 2025. If you want to go with a full tegimented bracelet, you're pushing that $4,000 mark. It'll be $39.80. So when I go through some of these cons that I have, keep in mind I'm looking at it at this price, okay? So first off, I'm going to say the Lume is mediocre for the price range. I think the Lume should have been much better. I will also ding the watch on the clasp. Now I do understand SINN has since upgraded the clasp, but the clasp could have been better, although very well made. Weight can be an issue. This is a heavy watch, as I mentioned. And the size. It's a big watch, and if you have a wrist size smaller than 7 inches, 7 1/4 maybe, you're going to have a hard time pulling this thing off. It's just big and heavy. If you have a larger wrist, you're fine, and you know this thing's on your wrist. You're not going to forget it. The bezel is very good, but it does take a bit of getting used to, just the way it seems to be springy. And then I would also say that the distortion from the crystal at times, which I mentioned, if you hold it on an oblique angle, and again that's because it is such a thick piece of crystal, that distortion can be an issue. Another thing which you have to keep in mind, and I hadn't even really thought about this till I sat down to make some notes for doing this review, but if you need to service this watch and have the movement serviced, more than likely you're going to need to send it into SINN in Germany. And it's not because of that Salita being special, but because of the fact that it is filled with that inert gas, argon. And I don't believe any local watchmaker is going to be able to seal up this watch in an inert environment with the argon gas in it. So that's something to keep in mind. Service cost might be expensive because it's more than likely going to have to go back to SINN in Germany to have it done properly. And prices, yeah, I mean, these are not inexpensive watches. Mind you, SINN, they're not an inexpensive brand, and you are getting a lot of quality here. As far as the pros, and this is going to sound weird because the list might be a little bit shorter than the negatives, but first off, I have to say it's the build quality. It's just such a solid watch. This really is like wearing a submarine or a tank on your wrist. It just exudes build quality. I also have to compliment it for its extreme resistance to the elements, with that water resistance, the anti-magnetic properties of the watch, the low temperature properties. It's it feels like this watch could survive anything you throw at it, and it'll come out ahead. Legibility, again, it's just fantastic, so I give it a lot of good praise here for the legibility. And then finally, I would say the features and the technology that's in here. It's just some really cool stuff. I mean, 2,000 meter dive watch with a GMT complication, made out of submarine steel. The anti-magnetic properties, the dehumidification technology, the argon gas filling. I mean, it's just a cool watch. So there's a lot to like about it, and it also you know, has its issues. So maybe it's a polarizing watch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Obviously, I like this thing. I've had it for quite a few years, and I'm pretty attached to it. It's not an everyday watch. I mean, like I said, wearing this sucker is heavy, so you know it's on your wrist. With all that said and done, guys, I think we're going to try to wrap things up. I know it's getting a little long. I just want to remind you, a couple episodes ago, you may have seen I am doing a strap giveaway in cooperation with Montreux Straps here in the US. Just a reminder, that giveaway will close on September 15th. So if you have not yet entered for that giveaway, please do so. To enter that giveaway, you need to watch the video. I'll put a link up here at the end of this. We will be drawing 3 winners completely at random, and you will get your choice of a strap from Montreux. So that's it for today, guys. As a friendly reminder, if you have not done so already, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. This video is not sponsored. I've not been compensated by SINN. This is my own watch and my own opinions. On that note, I will bid you all adieu. We'll see you next week. So stay safe out there. Thanks for watching.